place with. We cannot take those stories and put us in the place of these Hebrews going out and conquering, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody mentions them at all. The only thing that is mentioned during this time, if the Hebrews was going out and conquering as the Bible said so, we would see them historically mentioned by the Greeks, by the ancient Greeks. I'm talking about before the 4th century BCE. The Egyptians themselves, all that stuff that you think the Egyptians are talking about in Kemet, they are not talking about no Jews. Been there plenty of times. They're talking about the Hittites or the Hyksos. Plain and simple. We can see the different periods when people came in, the Persian period. We can see when the Romans came in. They decreed themselves, the Greeks decreed themselves to be pharaohs. They made hieroglyphics and wrote on the wall. Not nowhere, in no place do we find such a thing belonging to the Hebrews, the Jews. We don't find it. When you're seeing the people in bondage, in some cases it's the Egyptians themselves during a time when the Hyksos came and took over, when they were ruling. Plain and simple, they depicted themselves. So, I mean, it's a matter of people really doing the research and being critical about what they're, researching, and not simply wanting to believe wholeheartedly that we are cursed. We are just simply cursed. We are doomed. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you pay attention to what the doctrine is saying itself versus actual reality and what's been taking place. So what they have effectively done was use the stories. And I talked about this in the Bible series, how Time Magazine put out the whole article about them using the Bible, admitting, slave owners admitting to using the Bible as justification for slavery, citing the whole curse of Canaan. And when you follow the whole story all the way through, it will get you to this whole Deuteronomy thing. So what I'm telling you is the Deuteronomy 28 stuff has already been used since slavery. This is the same doctrine, the same teaching that the slave masters taught the slaves, that this is the reason why they are in bondage. I mean, think about it. Who does the story benefit? It doesn't benefit us. It benefits them. So if you get these slaves to believe that they're cursed, Deuteronomy 28, there's no way they could be telling us about that book. There's no way. During slavery, they're telling us about the Bible and skip over Deuteronomy 28 when you can look at it. First of all, when the slaves couldn't read to tell what it was anyway, or if it was true, but they still taught it. So once later, when it came out, because this is not new, when they were able to read later on, they would read Deuteronomy 28 and be like, well, damn, this must be true. And this was supposed to play in the hands of the Europeans, way more so, than it has. But thanks to people, with knowledge, and people who have been putting out truth and information over the years, they left it to these agents who you see out here today, these so-called Hebrews, because they're agents. They don't even, whether they realize it or not, they left it to them to try to bring you on board with this doctrine and to get you to believe that you are cursed. Now, yes, you can go back and look at a lot of things pertaining to the Hebrews that are ancient, super old, but none of them is going back further than the 4th century BCE. Nobody, not one Jew or Hebrew or what have you, not nobody on this planet can find you a biblical manuscript that predates the Septuagint Greek. So again, and this is what you have to understand, this is important, because we're talking about the existence of the Bible itself, the proof, the true existence as far as reality, what we can prove, facts. The only proof that we have of the Bible's existence is, of course, LXX, which is the letters of Orestes, talking about the Septuagint and how it came about. Again, these letters have been proven to be false. No real scholar believes in the letters. The letters contradict real history and the real actions of the Greeks. And, it just doesn't work. They don't work. So again, the only proof, the only validity we have to the existence of the Bible comes from the Greeks, saying that Ptolemy II Philadelphus, basically decreed and wanted the Hebrews, 6 Hebrew elders from each of the 12 tribes, to give us a Greek version of the Hebrew law, which is the Septuagint, which means 70. So this is how it supposedly came into existence. I talked about this before, previous videos. But there is no other proof, nothing of any type of biblical manuscript that predates that. So again, that's why the Hebrews today, these black Hebrew Israelites, need you to believe that King James was black. Because they know when you do the research in the history, you're going to trace it all the way back to the Greeks. Plain and simple, the white Greeks. Of course, we know before we knew the name Greeks, the original inhabitants of that land was, of course, black people. So we understand that. So when I'm saying Greeks, we're not talking about black Greeks did not conquer Kemet. Plain and simple. Black Greeks did not, combine with the Romans and give us this whole Holy Roman Empire. So not talking about them. But you're going to find a lot of stuff, ancient, old, pertaining to the Hebrews. And a lot of people, they take this stuff and they take it as it being some kind of relevance to the Hebrew doctrine being true, when, the Jews existed. Yeah, of course. They created these people, as I talk about. And they existed, and they was here, but you can't trace them past before the 4th century BCE, when around this time was the same time when you had the Greeks conquer Egypt. And the true people, as we was just reading in the Bible, think about it, we're talking about the Israelites doing, spying on Canaan, which is Israel. Meaning that what? As you already know, they wasn't the original inhabitants of that land. They wasn't the indigenous people of Israel. So who were they spying on? Plain and simple. Who did they take the land from? And when you understand the history, it was a part of the Egyptian territory, which is why, of course, it was black. So they stole it from black people. Not black Hebrew Israelites, but the Greeks, the Romans, took this empire over. When the Arabs came in to take Kemet, who was there? The Romans. Most of the black people fled from Israel, fled from Egypt, and fled into lower Africa and set up civilizations there, which is, as I talk about, one of the reasons for slavery, because we was passing down that information and knowledge to these other kingdoms that was in Africa. It was the kingdoms that was basically toppled, and those kingdoms that had the Africans enslaved, and it was those people from those kingdoms that was sent here to America to be enslaved. We were already in America. It's already African people there, already black people in the Americas. So it's really going to be up to you to really do the research and to think, is, the whole explanation of us being cursed valid when you look at everything else? It doesn't fit, doesn't work. Especially the fact when you look at Ephesians 6:5, when it says, slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. I mean, think about that. It's telling you to obey the slave master as you would Jesus Christ, putting them on the same level. And then it turns around and tells you in Matthew 6:24 that you cannot serve two masters. It's as clear as day. You can't serve two masters, but it's telling you right there, serve two masters. I want you to serve the earthly master as you would, Jesus, the same, two masters. So that alone, I mean, come on. So for the Hebrews, when you look at that fact, this is one of the reasons why a lot of Hebrews don't like to talk about the New Testament, because if the white man's supposed to be, conquered and enslaved later on, then why is it saying in the New Testament that God put them in power? Romans, let every soul be subject to the higher powers, the powers that be, who we know is this government. It's not black, it's white folks. Plain and simple. So if they're supposed to be conquered later on, why are they given this power? Why are they put on the same level as Jesus Christ? Think about it. You got to ask yourself, is it, truth? Or is it a book, a doctrine created to give validity to slavery, to put themselves in a position of power over everybody else, to justify what they are doing? When you read that, and then you think about manifest destiny, what I talked about is them decreeing themselves to basically have the godly right to go and conquer any lands that they want. Think about this stuff. Think about the history and ask yourself, is we cursed? This is the way it's supposed to be. But everybody else get a free pass. Just only dark-skinned people, black people, we cursed. Is it that, Or is it the fact that these people took over and conquered, have been hiding our history and hiding who we truly are, what we are truly capable of, in fear of retaliation and fear of what we are capable of and what we will do once we all wake up? Everything points to that fact. I don't know what you think of yourself as a black person or what you believe about history and what's going on, what's taking place, but it's clear and obvious in front of your face. I don't know why you would want to believe you are cursed. I'm not cursed. If I'm supposed to be one of these so-called Hebrews, I'm not cursed. I have a good life. I'm good. And there's a lot of people who are good that are black. Why are we okay and everybody else is in poverty? It don't make sense if we are cursed that this is the case. And same was the case during slavery when you had free black people that was successful, rich. How come they, wasn't cursed? How come the rest of the tribes was not cursed? I mean, think about it. So again, the reason why you have all the biblical books, the Abrahamic religions or what have you, in these Masonic lodges and studied by these secret societies is because, as I said, it contains hidden knowledge and the agenda of the elite. They hide it in plain sight in the book, but you'll never know if you're not one of them how to decipher it. It's just that simple. So, we can go and look at the Masonic layout of Washington. We can look at everything, the dollar bill, all that stuff. How can you look at all this and just ignore it all? How can you look at the fact that you have the connection between the Moors and the Shriners, the Masons, Islam? What is this connection? And we look at it and you have all these people in cahoots and a part of this secret society, and everything is evolving around these biblical books. The reason why it seems as if Bible prophecy is coming true is because it's their agenda coming true that these people are putting in place. And as I always say, find me a Bible prophecy that has not been brought forth by man, have not been revealed or created or come true because of the actions of man. And I'm not talking about, again, blood moons and celestial events and natural disasters, stuff that has been happening long before the Bible existed. Man has been making this stuff come true. So it's not giving validity to the Bible or, making any prophecies come true. It's people doing what they wrote down that they was going to do. It's just that simple. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I hope this answered your questions. I have a lot of videos on YouTube about the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. There's a lot of information out there. And the best thing you can do is go do the research for yourself. A lot of people are stubborn and they stuck in their ways and they have these emotions about, what's taking place and everything that's going on. And a lot of people want to believe it, because it fits their psyche somehow, but it's not true. It's you still basically believing in fairy tales and believing that it's this mystical God out there that's, all this fairy tale shit is true. It's bullshit. Do the research, pay attention, look at it closely and carefully. It doesn't fit. It does not work. Just because Deuteronomy 28 is talking about us doesn't make everything in the Bible correct. It makes it very easy to understand that the book was written 1604 to 1611 by a person, a king, who was responsible for us being enslaved. Plain and simple. There's no other way to look at it. And it's not the same as the oldest books. If Deuteronomy 28 was saying the same thing as the old ancient manuscripts, and any Bible scholar, anybody who's looked at them, who does the research can tell you it does not. It's completely different. It was changed. It's a reason why they call it the King James Version. It's completely different. It's changed. It's his. It's not the same. If it was the same book as the originals, why would he give us his version? Why would he give us that? But the Hebrews want you to believe that he had, hands laid on him and the spirit put in him, and he was magically given the correct version that you should follow. Think about that. It's bullshit. It's bogus. It don't fit. Your prayers are not being answered. Nothing that is promised to you in the Bible has come true and has been given to you. So it's crazy. And it's far-fetched and, outrageous for you to believe that every single black person is just going to magically commit, to serving as God in the face of everything that we have seen when we have begged and prayed for hundreds of years to this God. Nothing. Still being shot in the street like dogs. Nothing. People killed at church, black and white. Think about it. Stupid. Wake up. Understand what's going on. It's a whole lot that you are missing and not seeing because you are stuck in this book. It's a bunch. You're not really understanding what's taking place. So you need to definitely do the research. Forget, everything that I'm saying. Don't gotta believe me. When you do the research in truth, you'll figure it out. Don't go follow stuff that fits what you want it to follow. Look at the facts. Use common sense. There's no way you can be stuck in this doctrine if you do that. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch and support and purchase. Definitely take advantage of this deal. It's going to go away. I'm not going to be doing a flash drive thing for too much longer because it's like super expensive to do. So it's not really worth it for me. So I'm trying to do it for as long as possible to get people to get as much information as possible. But you know, that deal is going to be until Tuesday. It's going to go back to original price, which is, you know, almost $400. If you do buy the downloads as well, you will also get the next 5 free. So I'm trying to do promotional stuff to help people out, to help people, you know, get the information, you know, much easier. Also, you know, good news for my site. A lot of people ask questions about that. Still going well, and it looks like net neutrality, whether it kicks in or not, you know, it's not going to affect me. It should be okay. So I'm definitely working hard to get that up and running. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for supporting. See you next video.